Yo, what is good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, Luz Tex, but you already know who we got in the building. He's a reoccurring guest, my guy, JTuck. How you doing, JTuck?
Hey, what's going on, bro, man? Thanks for having me, man. Hey, once again, bro, appreciate the good work you're doing, man. You killing the community. You make me proud, man. I've seen up and coming content creators doing things the right way. Take the stress away from me, man. I can't do it all by myself, man. So the new media team is definitely evolving. There's a lot of young content creators out there doing their thing. And my dog Lou is definitely one of those ones.
All I know is work. That's all I know. That's all I know. So I appreciate you, Vach, boss, everyone who's laid the foundation, and all I'm doing is just retreading.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I don't. We can start out with the depressing stuff out the way before we escape to the draft, because I know everyone wanted to draft briefly. The Cowboys just held a press conference, introducing Schottenheimer as the new head coach. Is there anything that you took away that left you different than before?
I won't say different. I think my views on Schottenheimer kind of stays the same, right? I feel like when it comes to Schottenheimer, I feel like he's going to be a good coach, right? Now, will that be in Dallas? I don't know, right? Because I feel like we all know when it comes to Dallas Cowboys, there's this media scrutiny, there's the lights, the glitz, the glamour, there's Jerry, there's Steven. There's a lot of different things that entails when it comes to being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Is Schottenheimer on his first head coaching job ready for all that? I don't know. And when I watched the press conference, the one thing that really stood out and resonated to me is like the main problem is sitting right in front of Cowboys fans' face. It's that you have a brand new head coach, one who has never been a head coach before, but who's doing all the talking? It's Jerry and Steven. Like you're literally taking away. Like I felt like when I was watching the interview, and I'm like, okay, well, Schottenheimer's saying some good. Then it's like, oh, well, what about me over here? Don't forget about me, bro. And I'm just like,
Paying over here.
yeah, this is the problem in Dallas. So hopefully Schottenheimer can build some of the things that he can build and was talking about in the press conference. Now, we've all been there. We all been on our first day of the job. Hey, man, you want to work? Yeah, man, I'll work weekends. Hey, man, you want to work holidays? Yeah, you're excited. You're saying a lot of stuff you really ain't about to do, but you're just happy to be there. So I think the one thing that I'm going to have to see when it comes to Schottenheimer is it fact or is it fiction? We sat there and saw Mike McCarthy talked about the analytics and all the film that was cap, right? When it comes to Brian Schottenheimer, he said all the key terms. He said motion, he said tempo, he said run the ball and continuity and culture, all those bold, powerful words. But let's not forget, this isn't an outside hire. You've been here in Dallas. So you mean to tell me you were the offensive coordinator for 2 years and you just had these motion ideas in your back pocket and you just never brought them to the forefront of Mike McCarthy, or you brought them to Mike McCarthy and he was like, absolutely not, let's get rid of it? I don't believe that, right? I feel like what we've seen in Dallas is a trace of Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer, but also Dak Prescott. I feel like there might be some new wrinkles, but this new offense that a lot of Cowboys fans have this idea of, I really don't think that's going to be the case. But my model I've been preaching on my channel is week 6. I will address this press conference in week 6. Don't tell me now what you're going to do. Hey, run the ball versus Kansas City when they come to Dallas. Then I'll believe you, right? Run the ball versus Detroit. Run the ball versus Philly. And then I'll buy into this whole Brian Schottenheimer power scheme, and I'll get back to basics by week 6. But right now, you're just telling me what I want to hear. I think a lot of Cowboys fans were kind of when it came to the press conference and Brian Schottenheimer. But there's also some other key things that really stood out in my mind as well.
Yeah, I think those key things. I was paying attention. I was reading between the lines. Jerry wanted to be an actor. He wanted to put on his best portrayal and everything like that. I was looking in between and looking at facial expressions and just how he responded. I think shout out to Boss Cowboy and his motto, like your voice matter. I think Jerry and Steven are cracking. We are confusing, at least blinding them from their original agenda. Like it may be not a full 360, but I'll take 45 degrees. Like you can see it, like with him, Steven, how he was saying, oh, how we've been in this drought. That's what he said. And I was like, oh, so you actually hearing, you actually understand. I called the Joneses stupid, but I'm gonna be honest, they're not stupid. They just they still are, but I feel like they just too laid back. It's just very unorganized. In fact, I didn't like the hire, but I'm growing onto it. But I still have a disdain for the process they took, because at everything they were reporting that they were saying, "Oh, Jerry likes this guy. Oh, Jerry likes this guy," and they're trying to like, make this, like Marvel. If y'all watch Marvel,
Mhm.
remember Captain America in the Civil War? It was Iron Man versus,
Right.
Captain America. It's not about the guys that's facing. It's the fact that we have a fight to begin with at
Mhm.
the front office. And I felt like that's was something we should take away.
A lot of things, man. I feel like, I mean, that's the disheartening part when it comes to just, even doing the draft, right? Because even when I do draft content, people like Tuck, it don't matter because of the front office. You see what I'm saying? So it's just that ego and how they treat people, man. It's like they thought they were going to be able to play with Mike McCarthy and bring him in on another little prove it deal, and Mike McCarthy dipped, so they started scrambling. So they kind of get what they deserve. But I'm wishing Brian Schottenheimer the best. I hope he's the next Sean McVay. I hope he's the next, the next hot head coach. But we'll see. Like I said, week 6, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they care about the image in the shots they were taking at
Right.
Mike, saying, "Oh, we like Mike," but he talking about the words I tweeted. I was like, he said, "Oh, it's time for a change." You didn't believe it was time for a change because you sat at the table intending to bring him back.
Right.
So
You blocked him. So why didn't you
you
follow
you
him?
blocked him. So you didn't follow through.
Right.
No, what changed? He changed his mind, and I believe it left you in a sputter.
Right.
But
It's like that guy gets dumped, but you try to, man, I didn't do
yeah,
it.
like no, you
I had to cut her off. Like, no, bro.
no, bro. You're lying to yourself, and I understand it. You're trying to cope,
Right.
but on to the draft. I think, and if you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribe to JTuck CFO Sports. If you just be on this side of the corner of the earth and you're subscribed to me and don't even know about CFO Sports, make sure you do that. But why? Because I love your 7 in the morning, or not 7. It's really like 3 in the morning. I'll be waking up at 7. I catch your morning walks and when you go live. And I remember what you said, and it really stuck with me. The draft is football at its purest.
Mhm.
So I gotta ask this question before we get into it. Like, what does the draft process mean to you, and where in your football journey, maybe as a player, maybe as a coach, where did it connect you and left it connected to this push right here? You're doing reporting, you doing draft analysis, and you cannot stay away from the film. Where did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like even though coming up just as a fan, right, I was always kind of into the draft. Also, I mean, people see the way I go about the NFL draft. At first, it was the NBA draft. I used to be locked in on all things NBA draft, and then I remember, the 2016 draft when we drafted Ezekiel Elliott. And then I wanted Jalen Ramsey in that draft. A lot of people know that, but Good Morning America had posted this tweet, and it's like one of my most infamous tweets ever, right? They're like, Dallas Cowboys, it's day 3 of the draft. Who should the Dallas Cowboys draft? Right. And I'm like, Dak Prescott, proven leader, hard worker. I think he's going to be the future, right? Now, nobody, Mississippi State, no one would care. Dak has some off the field stuff, then we drafted him, and then it hit. And it was just like, all right, there it is, right? But the reason why I really do draft content, or got into draft content the way that I do it now, was the Micah Parsons draft. And the Micah Parsons draft, I was still young as a content creator, still kind of coming to this game, trying to figure out what the hell I'm really doing. And I saw Micah Parsons film, and I saw a player just jumping all off the screen.
Oh my God. I watched the highlights, Tuck, and I said the highlights. I was like, he's gonna be a superstar. I
Yeah.
didn't even see a full screen. I saw the highlights.
Yeah, and I just saw it. I'm like, man, like I watched the Memphis game and the bowl game, and I watched all these incredible games with Micah Parsons. But every time I would bring up Micah Parsons, whether it was on draft shows or some of the bigger content creators or some of the the media people, it was like, oh, absolutely not. The Cowboys are out on them. There is no shot. You know what I'm saying? Like the radio station, like you're tripping, and I was like, am I though? Like I don't think so. Like I don't really think I am. So me still being a content creator and growing, I kind of shut up on Micah Parsons because I was kind of afraid. Well, damn, Tuck, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because I'm having all these higher ups who I viewed at the time telling me Micah's not it. He don't got it. I'm just like, well, maybe I'm seeing something wrong. So then the Cowboys draft him, and a lot of people saw my reaction. It wasn't me being mad. Like I said, Micah Parsons. Oh, I wasn't mad that we drafted Micah. I was more mad because I saw something in the player, and
And
the Cowboys were interested, and I didn't have the cojones to stand on it. So from that moment, I vowed, hey, never again. And then it hit, right? So then Micah hit, and I was like, yeah. So everything I broke down in the video was exactly what I said. Like I remember I had Brian Broaddus on the show, and he was like, how did you know that Micah Parsons could put his hand in the dirt? Because even the scout that scouted him said he never saw Mike as an edge rusher. I was like, well, watch the Memphis game. He had his head in the dirt, like. So I was kind of like, bro, what kind of scouts do we have? So I was like, all right, maybe I can do this. Maybe not better than a lot of people, but just as capable. So I started working on my own craft, doing my own studying, and then as things started to progress throughout time, I found that I felt a big fulfillment in believing in players that no one believes in, right? So I give my biggest case study was Ivan Pace Jr. Ivan Pace Jr. out of Cincinnati. I mean, it was just all there. Like, I mean, you just watch the film, bro. It was just like incredible. I'm like, this kid is phenomenal. But everyone was saying he's too small. He doesn't fit. I'm like, forget the hand size and how big his palms are. This kid is completely everywhere, right? So then Ivan Pace goes undrafted to Minnesota. Then I get the backlash. Aha, he didn't even get drafted. He didn't even get drafted. CFO, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, this undrafted free agent becomes a rookie starter. He gets the green dot, and he's one of the best linebackers in the class. And for me to say that and have Ivan Pace hit me directly on the ground, like, yo, bro, thank you for believing in me. That like triggered something. You know what I'm saying? It gives
Wow,
me
yeah, that's crazy.
like, all right, I'm seeing something in these kids that not even NFL scouts see. I mean, even little Jalen Tolbert, like, even though we drafted him, I was talking about Jalen Tolbert before we hit the Senior Bowl. Like, yo, this is kid out of South Alabama. He has some upside potential, right? So it's like, I get this when Jalen Tolbert goes off for 2 touchdowns versus Pittsburgh and have 100 yards. Like, I feel some reward with that, right? So I think that's kind of why I love the draft prospect. Like I said, it's just pure. It's just black and white. It's the film. There's no opinion. There's no, well, it's just, is it on film? Does it translate? Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I see we can prove. And this is my stance on it. And that's why I love draft season, man. I'm like a locked in zombie draft. I absolutely love it.
Yes, man. That's beautiful. That's music to my ears because like you cannot explain nothing. Numbers can't explain a football eye.
Right.
And I feel like I feel I have that as well. And I think that came with that's why it connected me. My football career, like I played in the SWAC at Palm Bluff, and then I transferred to Sam Houston. And I just on my time there, I was at practice with these guys. I saw it every day. Like Jamie Gilliam, who's probably the punter. I think he's for the Giants right now. He was my punter back in college. Like, and I saw him. Mind you, to this point, a punter, I never ever scouted a punter before. But when I saw this man, he will work every day, and his punts were in the air for 6.5 seconds.
Right.
And that we had the number 1 punt coverage team in the FCS. And I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something. I'm like, that's NFL level. I've never seen punting. Where we from in our neighborhood, punters. We're just trying to get the ball. We're just trying to, this is just a turnover possession. But you didn't know it was an art to it, depth. People just thought, you just need to put a backspin on it. No, it's all about depth. It's all about precision. It's like it's everything. And he's the swollest punter I ever met in my life. They call him the Scottish Hammer. Right. And then it transitioned to Sam Houston. I went there. I was on a partial scholarship. I was a preferred, walk on. But as a preferred walk on, I had to be the scout team offensive tackle for like the first team defense. So I'm going against them every day. One of the guys I'm going against every day is a transfer from University of Texas. And he's going to be in the draft. Like, and going against him every day, no matter what move I had, like his hand fight would win every time. Like I was like, oh my God, like, he's just giving me problems. And I was strong. I had good hands, and like. I'm seeing all of these players in my high school. Don't even get me started in my high school. So many players actually, I got one player that's in the draft right now, Andrew Armstrong. Shout out to you, receiver from Arkansas. He's from my Bishop Dunn High School. Yeah. But I play just seeing all these players, seeing all the guys that were close. They got on the roster, but camp happened, and then you just went. Seeing those guys, I felt like I developed. I'm like, I'm just seeing too many. I see what it takes to get to the next league. So when I see certain guys that they're pushing, I'm like, why is he getting pushed? What did you see? Because I don't know about you, but I value translatable skills. You would have been able to pick up Micah's putting the hand in the dirt if you would have valued, things you can like. There's certain things that can translate. Micah's sideline to sideline speed at his size was unheard of. Like he was, like you know what I'm saying? Like he was tracking. If at worst he would have been a great spy, and that's why I'm really mad that we still have him hand in the dirt and we don't have him as an off-ball linebacker. But yeah, like how do you like talk about like the football eye that you can't put
Yeah, and I think football eye is the separation, right? Because a lot of people don't have that, right? And it's not a knock on people who didn't play the game or even play the game at a high level, but it's just like you have that sense, Lou. I have that sense where I can just see a football player. You know, so I can just you can see how they walk, how they carry themselves, their swagger after the play. Like you can just see a football player. And I always give this analogy. When I was in college, I played at Emporia State University, where
Mm.
Deion Lett went to, right? Played outside linebacker. And we got this guy, he was a transfer, he came from Florida. And man, this dude broke every weightlifting record. He had veins popping out of his neck. Everything just looked incredible. We heard, what I'm saying, that his name was Matt. Matt's gonna put up breaking records, has plaques all over the wall. But Matt just didn't feel like a football player to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In the weight room, he was hard body. He was like a super saiyan, right? First day of pads, I came because he played fullback. I came off the edge and I was thinking, okay, what I'm saying? I was like, all right, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, Tuck, let's rev up because it's about to be a collision. Man, I put my shoulder in and he just folded. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, oh, he's soft. And then 2 weeks later, he quit. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, so it's just like, but those are things you can't measure, right? And it's like I get people get caught up in these graphs and these charts and these hands on.
Hands out. Yeah.
It does play a part, right? But at the end of the day, do you have competitive drive? Like, do even like a player like Patrick Wilson, Patrick Willis? No, was it Patrick Wilson?
Linebacker.
Linebacker that went to Steelers. It was Wilson, right?
Peyton Wilson. Yeah.
Peyton Wilson, right? Peyton Wilson, right? I know that he had the knee injury, right? And then last year when Big Game James interviewed at the Senior Bowl, he's like, listen, man, I know I have some injuries. I know I've been nicked up, and that's why I play every play like it's my last because I never know when this game's going to be taken away from me. I was like, oh, that's it. That's
it.
I don't care about his hand size. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't care anything about that because once he said that explained the film, bro. Like there were so many plays that I broke down the channel where he's just pursuing across field. Like that's not even your play, bro.
Overshown like.
He's just going after it, right? And those are things you can't coach. You can have a player that runs a 4.2 and has the size and the ability and all that. But if you don't have the IQ, the heart, the desire to really want to be out there, play after play, I don't want you on my team, right? So those are some of the things that just being around the game, I kind of have an eye for. I think it's just been a gift. Now my eyes are getting old. You know what I'm saying? I just see it translate, right? And I think that's the value and the fun for me in the draft, man. My draft process is insane. Everyone sees like Tuck, you're crazy, but it's just like I lock in. A lot of people are like, why don't you just like pay a team to do all this stuff for you? Like, no, because if I don't scout every player, then I don't know everything myself. You know what I'm saying? If I had Lou go over all the offensive linemen and send me a report, well, that's not my report. So
Right.
I want to watch every play on Kelvin Banks, right? So I understand what's going on, the ins and the outs, but also my gift to that is if I'm watching Kelvin Banks film, I might translate and see someone on the other side of the field, right? I forgot who I was scouting, but I was scouting their game versus Coastal. And I was like, bro, who was this tight end just going crazy like this? Like who?
Gunnerhelm?
No, it was Isaiah Likely.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I thought you were talking about Texas. My bad.
Yeah, so I was scouting. I started scouting Isaiah. So I find other players why I'm scouting players because I'm watching full games of players over and over again, and all of a sudden there's this number 22 on the other side of the ball. I'm like, well, who is this kid? Right?
Yeah, why we ain't talking about him?
So then I started researching Isaiah Likely. So I'm talking about Isaiah Likely. I was like, who? He ain't gonna. I'm like, nah, bro. This is a kid at Coastal. It's there, right? And so once again, it's just like, okay, well, Tuck, how did you find that guy? How did you find, some of these like Josh Downs out of North Carolina? He was another one. Like, man, I studied this kid down to the T, man. I knew his father, I knew his brother Caleb. You know what I'm saying? Like once I tell people, once I started watching your interviews and watching your YouTube channels, like Tuck's in love with, like you said, you know what I'm saying? So I started watching Josh Downs and I was like, this kid got it. Like this kid got it. It's all there, right? So it's just fun to me to kind of go through that process and maybe use my little platform to help elevate someone to get their dreams come true. And being at the draft and watching these grown men cry, you know what I'm saying, because their dream is coming true. It's a feeling
Right.
no other. Like, people think of Jalen Carter, this tough dog, you know what I'm saying? Like he is, right? But it's like seeing him come off the stage and he hugged me, you know what I'm saying? I don't know him, you know what I'm saying? He cried, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, bro, like it's a surreal feeling, man. So that's why I love covering the draft the way that I do. And the Cowboys keep messing up, it's gonna be full time.
I hear you on that, but let's dive a little deeper because this video is going to be about the running back position. I feel like we both finished our evaluation on pretty much almost all the running backs. So let's start by everyone when they scout, they have a skill that's preferential to them
Mhm,
that they if they see it in somebody, they may it may be the difference maker to being putting it over another guy.
mhm.
What is one to two skills that you value in a running back that that you find like very valuable?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the processing. I've been kind of teaching this on my channel, everything that happens before the running back actually hits the gap, right? Because once a player hits the gap, they burst to the hole. That's just God given ability, speed, agility, elusiveness, like all those types of things, right? But are you able to have the vision? Can you make people miss in the backfield? Are you able to process and not have to slow down before you hit that gap? Because a lot of people don't understand, like, to be able, I mean, you know this, Lou, but like to be able to get the ball at the backfield, hit downfield, but have the vision to see, okay, this left guard is pulling and he's kicking at this tackle outside. I can see that at the peripheral of my eye. Okay, so now I'm going to cut back. Okay, so now I have a linebacker squaring me. Shake. Now I'm going to get him up off of me, but then I'm going to read my backside tackles blocking this line and get off. Like, you're doing all that processing, but not gearing down. So those are a lot of the things that I'll look at when it comes to running backs. Is the processing before you hit the gap, and then after that, it's just the simple traits, right? So my process typically, when I watch a player, I know the traits I'm looking for. I'm looking for vision. I'm looking for patience. I'm looking for footwork. I'm looking for balance after contact, and burst, and their functional strength. Like, can they break tackles constantly on a one-on-one basis? Like,
Mm.
so I'm knowing all of that. So what I'll do is I'll watch a player. This is tossed out of Amari Hampton, right? So I was watching Amari Hampton just blindly. I might watch just a random game. Okay, Amari Hampton versus Virginia or something. Just watch it, right? And so I'm seeing the traits, and then I'm seeing if anything jumps off. And so if I say, okay, oh my God, like look at that vision. So then I note down, okay, in vision, right? So I write down vision. So now I want to go and see other games. Is that vision translate on a consistent basis? And then if I can see, because typically my process is 4 to 5 games, like I said, like minimum, right? So if I see that 4 to 5 games, okay, he did it versus Virginia, but he also did it versus Boston College. He also did it versus Florida State. Like, the vision was always there. Okay, cool. Then I can mark him down as that he has good vision, right? Or different. So that's how I kind of go about it. The very first game I'll watch is completely just, I come in the lab and just watch it. Just watch it. I don't, because what happens is people will anchor in on their biases. And what do I mean by that? Let's say I watch Amari Hampton in one game, Florida State, right? He goes crazy. He had like 3 touchdowns, went insane versus Florida State. Well, then I'm booking. I'm on Twitter. Oh, Amari Hampton,
Wait, RB1.
he's crazy. He's the one, right? But then you might watch other games and it's not there. You see what I'm saying? So it
Right.
has been the game of his life. It might have just been the defense was bad he was facing. He might have, ate the right food or something. So are you doing that consistently, right? And I feel like a lot of people will do that. They get caught up in highlights, right? Like, oh man, you should have seen what he did versus Ohio State. What did he do versus Central Michigan? Like, why do you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't he do it then? Like, and I feel like the biggest case study is causing my problems this year in the running back position is Ollie Gordon, right? If you watch
Talk about him.
If you watch Ollie Gordon last year, oh my God, bro, like first round pick, like you gotta have Ollie Gordon, like, you know what I'm saying? But if you would have stopped after 1 or 2 games last year, you would have been Ollie Gordon's my guy. But if you watch him this year, you're kind of like, yeah, yeah, he all right, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it's a scouting process. And I remember the player that I did that first with was Cameron McGrone. He was a linebacker out of Michigan. And I watched like 2 games of Michigan football, and he was just jumping off the screen. I was like, oh my God, Cameron McGrone is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love this guy. He's going to be a steal. And then I got a hold of some other film. It's like, all right, my bad. Hold on, man. My bad. You know what I'm saying? My bad. Hold on. I see. I just happened to get the best 2 games of film that he just actually had in his career, right? So he jumped off from those 2 games, but the other 8, it wasn't there. He couldn't process. He couldn't tackle. He couldn't move. You know what I'm saying? He just had a good day on those haps. So
Good
that's
day in office. Yep.
yeah. You just had to have. That's why you have to like dive deep into the scouting process, man.
Yeah, you hit on it. I think my most valuable aspect I look for in a running back, like you said, is vision. Because as a, I am pro offensive alignment, and I feel like vision, like everyone, when I had to question the scout if they lean too heavy on physical traits. Oh, he's explosive. Oh, he could get out of breaks, or he can break tackles, or he's so strong. Vision, if you can't see the path, none of that ever matters.
Right.
Because I feel like that's the one skill that if you can translate to the league can
Right.
really, really give you a long career. Like
Right.
if you so like you were saying, like we're gonna talk about him, Devin Neil, because I don't know why people are like sleeping on him so much. They ran much of a gap scheme at Kansas, right? And I said his favorite run was that GT counter when they pulled the guard and tackle around, because he loves to like see vision translates into other things. Like they think Devin Neil was slow. No, he was slowing down to set up the block, playing with the linebacker, getting him onto another level, and then he'll turn on that speed, and now he's going for an extra 30 yards versus a impatient back at DeAndre Swift, which I hate. He will just hit the hole before the running back gone, and that's the difference between being a 7-yard run versus a 30-yard run. And yeah, it's a positive game, but I want whatever I can get, everything I can get. So I value, skills like that. That's what I'd not, in my list. If you don't have vision, it's hard for me. There's only probably one running back that I got very high in this draft, which you just talked about, but I do question his vision. But I have faith that he can see it. But his like Omarion Hampton, who I'm talking about, he's mainly a gap scheme runner. He's all downhill. So maybe at the next level, since he's not reading that much, maybe like he can flourish. But like other running backs, Jeanty, Devin Neil, Caleb Johnson, like if you're setting up, the second level guys for your guys in front of you, like me, to make the block easier, big check mark in my book.
Right. 1000%. And especially like if supposedly it's shoddy, right? For Cowboys fans, if we're going to be running a little bit more zone, right? And there's inside zone or outside zone, you have to know how to stretch and, press that aiming point, but then have the vision to cut back. You know what I'm saying? So it just has to be there, and it has to be fluid. You don't have to gear down all the time, right? So yeah, Devin Neil, 1000%. And like I said, like it was crazy. And it really didn't hit me because I scouted Devin's. I mean, I watched Devin
all 4 years,
all 4 years of Kansas. But it wasn't really until I started scouting him, I was like, Tuck, this feels very familiar. Like even though I covered the Kansas Jayhawks, I'm a Florida State fan, and I'm just like, it feels like
Dalvin Cook,
bro. It feels exactly like Dalvin, right? Where if you were to get him in the zone scheme, because Dalvin didn't have extreme burst, right? It wasn't godly, but if he got out, he can get out. It's more than enough, right? So it's like I think people get caught up in the 4.2s and the 4.3s and all that stuff. Like, nah, bro, you still have more than enough. But to be able to process, and when I've been teaching my community, it's like when you play Madden, you don't hit the turbo button as soon as you get the ball. Use the analog a little
bit, let it set up the counter, and then hit the R.
Then when you're outside, then that's when you hold on to turbo. But it's like a lot of people get caught up in turbo button out the gate. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how it set up the blocks, right? Just like you're saying, Lou. If I have a pulling guard, well, I need to make sure that he's getting on the outside first before I beat him there, or it's pointless, right? So yeah, vision, patience, everything done before a player actually hits the gap is important for me at the running back level.
So let's start talking about these prospects. Obviously, let's go with the low hanging fruit. Let's talk about it because I don't know what's Ashton Jeanty. Probably on 90% of boards have him, going to the Cowboys. Sure, brainer pick, but I'm not understanding where's all of this anti-Jeanty, debate is coming from. I saw last night in the game, people were tweeting, "Oh, you can pick Jeanty, but Jeanty is obviously not a Saquon." Because he just don't. Those guys are just rare, and then it just back in my mind, I'm like, logically, that doesn't make sense. That's the whole point of us drafting in the draft. Right. Like we didn't know Saquon was Saquon before they got Saquon. Like, yes, we saw it at Penn State. Yes, it was great, but you were lying to yourself. You were saying, "Oh, 100% out of 10, he's gonna be, this great." Because technically he wasn't, especially for the Giants, because he's a totally different back right now for the Eagles. Right. So where is all of this coming from, this anti-Jeanty? And then how should we tone down and just give guys grace? Why do we give all these these prospects such high expectations.
I think to answer your first question, man, it's contrarian disease, right? If you go on Twitter and said the sky is up, well, people will say, "Well, what if you're a bet?" Then technically, like it's always some weird contrarian thing, right? Versus just saying, bro, Ashton Jeanty, we all saw it, is a dominant elite level back. I mean, if you watch the film, all the skill sets, all the traits that we've been talking about is all there. Like it's okay to let him be a first round pick. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand the argument, right? And I feel like people like to press a little bit on Twitter if something is like consensus. You know, they want to be on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? So it's like, nah, man, we didn't know Micah was gonna be Micah. We didn't know any of these players were gonna be that player, but you're looking at the traits and the upside potential. And there's no way you can tell me if you're watching an Ashton Jeanty, you don't see the upside. Could he be Saquon? Possibly not. But what if he's, Bijan Robinson? I think we're good. What if he's Jameer Gibbs? I think we're good, right? So it's just like one of those, it's like one of those weird things. But I think that when it comes to the Jeanty Saquon conversation, is that you're seeing running backs with elite traits, once again, Lou, that you can't coach. You know what I'm saying? As much as I like Rico, and Rico probably think I'm his biggest hater, I'm not Rico. Bro. Ooh,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
Ooh, I can't coach Rico to do those things.
That's
That's
the quick.
I yeah, I can't. There will never Rico will never be able to pull off a spin reverse jump like he'll just never be able to do. I can coach it 1,000 times, right? He just can't do those things. Just like Saquon bursted the gap out the gate and took it to the crib, Rico just can't do those things, right?
can't.
You have to have elite traits to be able to do that at the NFL level, and there's certain not quarterbacks, running backs that can do that. And I feel like Jeanty is one of those, and he's done it at a high level where he's had no help.
No, zero.
I tried to play with Boise on NCAA football. I was like, bro, how can I throw the ball? Like I just couldn't throw the ball. So I kept just throwing the Jeanty, bro. It's like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one of those things. He's faced stacked boxes. He's faced it at the highest level. Everyone knew that he was going to get the ball, rain, sleet, or snow, and they still couldn't stop him. Now imagine putting that with CeeDee Lamb. Imagine putting that with Dak Prescott. Imagine putting that with another wide receiver, what that can do for the Dallas Cowboys offense. I don't care about your colorful chart. I don't care that this value chart says you shouldn't draft running backs in the draft because I don't care about any of that. Once again, throw the charts away. Let's focus on football. And for me being a defensive player, I know the wear and tear it puts on you as a linebacker having to tackle someone like Ashton Jeanty 20, 30 times a game by the mouthpieces dangling. You're just tired, bro. You're just tired doing that. So why would you want that type of player in
It's
Dallas?
Here's a stat for you for all the stat nerds. You can't put a measure on gravity. How about take all those physical, what you see on on the stats or on the film, gravity that he possesses.
Mhm.
Everyone, let's go to basketball. Those dangerous Warriors teams with Steph, Clay, and KD. It wasn't dangerous because of the names. It was dangerous because of the gravity, and we just only have so many people
Right.
on the court that we can, like mathematically can defend. Like it's against the rules to put any more out there. If I had 10 guys out there, sure. But
Right.
and that's what we're trying to do for, the Dallas Cowboys, right? Right now, like what was the main problem last year? Oh, everyone's going too high. That means if you don't know that, mean they're committing 1 to 2 more or going nickel or going dime, committing 1 to 2, 3 more guys into the passing game and
Mhm.
just daring us to run. And
Right.
now those windows and zones, it's even harder for Dak to throw in, and you're expecting him to do that 40 times a game. Put an Ashton Jeanty down there. Now
Right.
they got to even on his rookie year, because everyone knows his name. They got
Right.
to commit just one more guy. Like
Right.
now when the defensive coordinator is holding that Waffle House menu, now he got to think about it like, oh, should I call this cover 2 robber? Because now they got a running back, and coach told me if they in too high, lick your chops because we finna run the ball. That mean that
Right.
box is light. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what we're trying to measure. And if he has that type of gravity, that's just that puts fear in defensive coordinators' hearts.
1,000%. I mean, Cowboys fans, we argue, well, Dan Quinn likes those little linebackers. Well, you can't do that versus Jeanty.
You can't. I dare you.
I dare you to.
5 yard gashes at the least.
Right.
So yeah, give me one player that you feel like is getting too much hype and one player that's not getting enough hype.
Good question. Because originally we're talking about running backs, right?
Right. All running backs. Yeah.
Originally I would have said Cam Scattabo.
Mm.
But I think once the bowl game kind of simmered down and I dropped the film session, a lot of people were just like, all right, Tucker, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there was and that's why I kind of waited, right? Because I knew if I would did that film, because everybody, like when I dropped Devin Neil, was like, can you do Cam Scattabo? Like, I'm like, listen, bro, like, no knock to Cam. Like I said, I'm a Big 12 guy. I covered the Big 12 for the last 4 years. He's nice, but it's different when you put that next to the other running backs that's available. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Cam Scattabo was one. And like I said, there's going to be a role for Cam Scattabo, right? But for Dallas, I feel like we already have Hayden Hunter Lukey, right? But I saw a player who didn't have vision, didn't have burst, didn't have patience. Now, functional strength was out the charts. You know what I'm saying? Like one-on-one breaking tackles, you know what I'm saying? Balance after contact. It's all there, right? But before it was just like an old Ford truck that you got to get revved up, right? So I feel like Cam Scattabo was one of those players. Now, a player that's not being talked about enough is another player I love out the Big 12 is RJ Harvey out of UCF.
Yes, talk about it.
RJ Harvey, man. I mean, he was a 1,300-yard rusher the last 2 years. You know, I watched RJ Harvey closely because I loved his wide receivers in Kobe Hudson and Javon Baker out of UCF as well. And like you're talking about a game breaker who has, you know, good low balance, vision, burst, like all those traits that we already talked about is RJ Harvey. So I'm not sure why he's kind of just out the loop, you know. I think that shows a testament to this running back class, right? Because like even Devin Neil, and I was saying this, man. I told Devin him personally. I was like, bro, I understand why you came back, right? Because he's a Lawrence kid. So KU is where his hometown is. He wanted to try to build something special, even though the season didn't go as planned, right? But I was like, bro, he would have probably been one of my favorite running backs in last year's class. Like,
of course,
you had Jonathan Brooks, the injuries, you had Trey Benson, who I'm a Florida State guy.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Neil would have probably been up there, right? So
he probably would have been like literally
like one or two.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, all right, bro, like I appreciate what you did for coming back, but it's just like, bro, I felt like last year's class was a lot more shallow, and you probably would have, you know, went a little bit earlier. But you know, overall, I feel like RJ Harvey is just one of those guys where it's just like he could be sitting there day 3. So that's the argument, right? It's like, well, why would I draft the Jeanty when I can get RJ Harvey on day 3? Because RJ Harvey might get sniped from you because you don't have a 4th round pick as your ownership went and burned it. And then you'd be sitting there wiped out thinking, oh man, we thought we were gonna get RJ Harvey, and someone moved up from the Cowboys and beat him. So it's just one of those things. So I feel like RJ Harvey is not one that's being talked about enough. Yeah, I would probably say RJ Harvey and then Cam Scattabo would probably be the 2 on that list.
Yeah, overhyped. Oh, it's gonna be kind of hot. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see it, and like in I think I said it in your live. I don't see the hype with Quinshon Judkins.
With Junkins, I can see it. I can see it.
I really don't. Here's my reasoning behind it. They're in a 2-back system, and he's supposed to be the explosive one. You know what I'm saying? And but it's Travion Henderson who's the inside the tackles. He's the guy that looks more explosive than Quinshon Judkins. And then when I see Quinshon Judkins, I see a one-cut back, and like I just said before, I'm not questioning his vision, but if he can't break that line of scrimmage, we can't really see his skills go. We can't see that breakaway speed. We can't see that size versus, you know, the DBs and everything like that, and how he can be favorable in matchups. I need you to beat the first level first. Like to me, can you be like I don't see you as a workhorse back. I think you're gonna have to be a combo back. So it's not going to be perfect. And, you know, you're not going to be, all your plays are not going to be outside zone or screen plays getting you to the perimeter. Sometimes you're going to have to take it, you know, within the tackles. And I feel like those, if a team gets you going east and west, I think it's over for you. Like I think linebackers can easily scrape you. So when people hype him up, and mainly I'm complaining this too, because I saw this video, a couple of, you know, draft community, you know, experts, you know, in the community, they literally had him above a guy. I think, you know, we were talking about Devin Neil, and they were saying everything I just said about Devin Neil, and they were like, "Oh, Devin Neil Snow." I'm like, "What film are you watching?" I didn't see that. I saw like, I think they just saw the stats. They saw he was well decorated, got over 4,000 yards. Should have grabbed your attention there, and then they see the slow developing. I don't think they're incorporating tempo into their, you know,
Well, see, a lot of people are missing about Devin Neil. And like I said, I know this. I know they switched their offensive coordinator, right? Because they went from Coach Grimes, right, to from Coach Z, who went to Penn State. Yeah, so he was Coach Andy or Coach K, Andy K, Andy Kofkis, something like that, right? So he became the offensive coordinator in Penn State, and they got Coach Grimes, Coach Jeff Grimes, in at Kansas. Well, me covering the team, I was tweeting for 4 to 5 weeks, like, bro, why aren't y'all giving Devin Neil the ball? Like, and the Kansas community was like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, because they were losing close games. They lost to UNLV and lost to Illinois because Devin Neil wasn't getting the touches. And he also had another good running back next to him in Daniel Highshaw. But it's just like they wasn't getting the running game really involved. And it wasn't really until Devin Neil put the world on notice versus Colorado, where that was his big moment. Well, they could have been doing that all season long. Like, even just you look at his passing, receiving yards, right? They wasn't even using him as a receiver out of the backfield. So when you look at how he was used last year compared to this year, the offensive scheme was completely clunky in Kansas. But if you look at it from the trait standpoint, yeah, Devin Neil was definitely one of those. But I just think he doesn't have the oh my god play. You know what I'm saying? Like he just doesn't have any of those. And I think people are they get caught up in the moment, right? We all watch the bowl game and watch Judkins go crazy, so it's just like he's the guy, right? But if you're looking for a complete running back, I mean, I feel like Devin Neal's in my tier two. Like he's in my tier
Yeah.
two. I have tier one. That's Caleb Johnson, Mario Hampton, and Jeanty. But then tier two, it's Devin Neal's in there. I mean, I have Henderson, I have Judkins. You know, Dylan Sampson's still a conversation piece for me. I'm still just trying to find which way to lean. Then you also have Jordan James, Taj Brooks. You know what I'm saying? Some of those guys, but it's like, yeah, Devin Neal is definitely. I would say I would be shocked if he gets past the third round. To be honest with you, he should probably be second round, earliest, third round, the latest, because it's just there. And I'll tell people the secret, right? I was being nosy when I was in the box at the Colorado game. There was multiple, plural, of scouts there scouting Devin Neil. You know what I'm saying? I was sending screenshots to Roman DMV, like, bro, you know what I'm saying? I was looking at some of our ops and they already had, they had the laptops out, you know what I'm saying? I probably should be saying this publicly, whatever. Like Devin Neil, you know what I'm saying? Devin Neil's, they were typing. And I was like, bro, why are y'all scouting Devin Neil? You already got a running back. You know what I'm saying? But it was just like, you know? So, hey, you kind of sitting back on your hands thinking, oh, we can get a Devin Neil in the fifth. Absolutely not, man. I would say there was probably like 12 different NFL teams. Of course, it was Travis Hunter, you know what I'm saying, Shador, all there, you know what I'm saying. But Devin Neil, a lot of them had Devin Neil's photo up on their laptops down taking notes. And I'm just like, he has it. He definitely has it.
But before we go on, like I text you about this player, a draft diamond. He may go undrafted. I just want to give him a shot again because Joe Hoyt interviewed him, and I think he's seeing what I seen. And that's Jaquindon Jackson out of Arkansas.
Mhm.
He's a running back. He was I got the story mixed up. He was a quarterback at Texas and then transferred to Utah to go be full time running back. I think I got it switched. But I know the kid because Dallas area. He went to Duncanville and he was a quarterback for
Mhm.
those state championship teams here, and we saw him play at AT&T Stadium. So and I knew he was a running quarterback then, but
Mhm.
for him to make that change, I saw his first film. I was just I was in the end of my scouting journey. I was just writing, and I was like, okay, let me turn on this kid. And he turned on Utah. I was like, oh my god, is this the quarterback?
Right.
I remember the name. Like I remember the name. I was
Right.
like, and he was one of the guys. I just what I just said. He's one of the guys. If you don't break the contact, you can't really see what he can do at the next level. And I'm like, that ain't gonna translate. But
Right.
then I went further in the year. I was like, okay, I'm seeing a little something. So then I was like, okay, I'm like, wait, hold on, this is Utah film. It just hit me.
Right.
Isn't he at Arkansas in the SEC? I
Mhm.
found the Arkansas tape. I'm like, wait, hold on, number what? 22.
Yeah. Mhm.
I saw an improvement, and I'm sorry, it caught my eye because,
Mhm.
like I just told y'all, he was playing quarterback a year and a half ago before he
Right.
transferred to Arkansas. The
Mhm.
guy at Utah, the running back, was running high, not staying low to the ground.
Mhm.
Vision was, he was just trying to hurry up and just get to the outside to show off his speed. Arkansas, I saw some big changes. The guy, shoulders was down consistently. He was bigger, like much bigger. I don't know what they were feeding him the weight
Right. Right.
at Arkansas, right? And I saw a completely different build. I saw like some quickness to his big game. I'm like, I saw that same long speed I was seeing him as a quarterback now with a bigger body. I'm like, hold on, everyone. Like, he may not be, this is a deep class, and he may not get to, to see, everybody from to see the big main stage. But I'm telling you right now, that improvement, he may not be a finished product. But let him get into somebody's the NFL team's red shirt program. Let him eat some more weights. Let him eat some more peanut butter, and let him get up with a good coach. I think he's going to be one of those guys like your Ivan Pace. That's like I really believe that.
Yeah, and I feel like he's going to be more quote unquote a weapon. He'll probably be a guy that start off as a special teamer, but then someone will have some different packages. And now how I kind of learned about him, salute to my guy Henry the Moore, man. We playing NCAA football, and he plays with Arkansas. He's an Arkansas fan, but he kept running this stupid trick play where he kept passing to his running back, and his running back was throwing like 97-yard bomb. Like, bro, what is going on, bro? I had to pause the game. How was his running back supposed to throw it that far? He had like all his arm strength and accuracy, and I was like, let me go look this up, bro. What's going on? I was like, oh, he was a quarterback converted to running back. So then that's why he would do this stupid toss play where he toss it out right, and then he's throwing over the top of my defense. I'm like, oh, okay, this is like, I still beat him though. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I found out about the quarterback talent. But it's like, yeah, man, I think he's going to be one of those guys where you saw the transition of going from a quarterback to a running back, and he'll still have those natural instincts. I mean, you don't just go to Texas as a quarterback, right, without having a football mindset, right? So he has a football mindset, and he's going to be able to adjust. And he could be one of those guys where you kind of have those packages for him, where you put him in, put him in the Wildcat. Now it opens up the passing game, direct snap games. You know what I'm saying? You can do so many different things if you have a creative OC with them. And I think there has to be a scout out there that already has this in mind. We can't be the only people thinking.
We cannot. Like I saw that jump, and I know they saw that jump as well. And that jump is duly noted, and it's going to give him a job.
Right.
But last two questions. This question may be deep. It may be a doozy. We know how the Cowboys can get if they pass on Jeanty. We understand. We love this class, this RB class. So guys, this is a deep class, one of the probably a generational type class. If they sign Rico and go with that plan, let's just say theoretically, hypothetically, what is the name they pick that will have you disappointed leaving this draft?
Disappointed alongside with Rico? Oh, that's a good.
Or if they let's split the scenarios. If they bring Rico back, or if they don't bring Rico back.
So a running back I would be disappointed with. So let's say we got wiped out, right? And we, and we went with like, I'll probably like if we were like, I don't know, Donovan Edwards, like a Damian Martinez, yeah, I just feel like, I mean, you talk about Arkansas running back, right? So Rocket Sanders, Raheem Sanders, who went to Arkansas, then transferred over to South Carolina. Like one of those guys, I just feel like they'll be decent, but they're not game changers, right? They're not in my game changer mode. A prospect that I'm really looking at that's kind of interesting. I feel like Cowboys fans want that bruiser, but I think last year everybody wanted the bruiser. Now everybody wants, the elusive, because I feel like they missed that Tony Pollard void. But Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, that's another powerful runner. Now the vision and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I didn't.
Yeah.
It was that one game. It was one run. We caught it was like wasn't a counter. It was like a dive, right? He broke the line of scrimmage. It was like the defender's high end up like he's right here. It's a defender here, but there's green grass over here.
Right.
And I saw him take the angle of getting immediately upfield to the two defenders. And I just said to myself,
right.
That play spoke to me.
Right.
Okay, fine. You may be a guy you want to fall forward and always get the turn out the yards, but I don't think you trust your speed right there in that situation, because you could have easily, got more because they didn't have the angle on you,
Right.
So that's what scared me.
Yeah, that was the same with Cam Scattaobo, right? So it's kind of that same mold, right? He's like, all right, bro, like once you get in the open field, okay, like so if you're not good with the processing before you get the gap, but then you get in the open field, you still, you know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like once again, he's one of those guys that can lean forward, kind of be a bruiser, but I just don't think he's that. So yeah, I would probably say like Rocket Sanders, Donovan Edwards, Damian Martinez. I'm trying to think. Kyle Monaghy is an interesting name out of
Yeah.
Rutgers.
Hmm.
He kind of has that clunky run, but he has a big size with him. He has that kind of funny geared up running style. But I just don't think those guys are the game changers that we need. Just like you're talking about, somebody that you actually have to scheme for. If it's a coordinator, I feel like if you have Ollie Gordon or somebody, they'll be like, okay, well, we'll just try it. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. We're still going to double team CeeDee Lamb, and if he beats us, he beats us. I don't think that's the case. So
Was you able to fully find out what was wrong with Ollie Gordon?
I still have it, man. It's I
I
guess
think I did. I think it was the injuries. There was an injury that happened between this year and last year.
okay.
Main difference I saw. So I'm not saying it slowed down him physically. I think it slowed down him psychologically.
Okay.
Why do I say that? When
What
he's a powerful dude,
was
right?
was a lower leg injury? What was
I think so. Something like it affected him, and you can tell it did because his approach to the game was different.
uh-huh.
So last year, unafraid, superhero, type mentality.
Right.
He his key thing, and I heard somebody else say it. I saw it too. His eyes was open when it was time to go run, within contact, and he can still be able to function. What I saw this year when he was in that situation because the offensive line was bad, I saw a lot of him closing his eyes and I'm like, why did you go right there? If you just keep your eyes open, maybe you can bounce it up. And he's just, I think he was just giving up on the play. I don't want to say those words, but I gotta say that. Like psychologically,
Right.
how he approached the run is different than what he did last year. So I think it's a psychological thing.
You have to look into that because like I said, because like I was watching the film, so I'm trying to break them down. A lot of people, I'm like, bro, it looks night and different from last year to this year, bro. So I'm like, I don't know, like,
He's closing his eyes.
right? So I'm like, what is really going on with this prospect? Because I've never seen a player that looks completely that different in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Just from a ability standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like the burst. So I was wondering, like, is there an injury? Was he at? Because I know he had like the off the field situation. Like, was there something going on with the coaches? And Oklahoma State wasn't winning. Like, there's probably a lot that go. And those are the things you have to look into when you're scouting, right? Because once again, it might be a situation when you get an Ollie Gordon in the 6th round and he's happy to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Right.
Ollie Gordon from last year, you might got a damn gym. So it's like one of those things. But yeah, I think that's a good nugget. I have to dig deeper because that's the hardest thing, right? Because the disclosures that college athletes have, you don't have like an injury report and all sorts of stuff to kind of look in. So you got to kind of like
Wait till the
yeah,
combine.
yeah, go in the weeds, yeah, wait till the combine. And they'll say, oh, he had a separated knee or something, you know what I'm saying, missing PCL and all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah. And last question, just wrap it all up. Running back position is back. I mean, what does the running back position mean to you into this game?
yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think it really ever faded. I just think that NFL teams were being greedy, but I know the importance of the running back position because we all need it. Because you don't want these quarterbacks to have to play hero ball. I know we all get caught up in the lure of what Pat Mahomes doing, but there's only one and only. You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, when it comes from the Cowboys standpoint, it's not a knock on Dak Prescott if you have to go draft a running back early. You're making life simpler for your quarterback, right? And it's the same thing that we wanted to do with Tony Romo when we drafted Zeke. Think about how easy Romo's life would have been with Ezekiel Elliott. Look how easy Romo's life was when he had DeMarco Murray going crazy, right? So, it allows you to open up not only Dak Prescott, but it allows your strongest asset offensively in CeeDee Lamb, what that creates for him. And it really stresses these defense. I just don't feel like this Dallas Cowboys offense had anybody outside of CeeDee Lamb that you had to be worried about. I mean, I tried to play Madden with the Cowboys. It was just like, dude was like, you going to throw the CeeDee Lamb? That's all I got, bro. Like, what do you mean? You can't be getting mad at me in the headset because I'm just throwing the CeeDee Lamb all game, bro. That's the only player I got. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like the Cowboys need to load up when it comes to weapons, and the running back position is going to be extremely important. I wouldn't, they're probably going to sign Rico, to be honest with y'all, because they like the cute story, undrafted. Hey, whatever. I get it. Cool. But I still want to compare and get Rico a entree, right? And I keep calling Rico a side dish. There's nothing wrong with being a side dish. Sometimes I just eat mac and cheese on my own, right? But it's like I want that entree to Ashton Jeanty and then Rico to kind of spell him and put Rico back in that spell role. So it's extremely important. I think that NFL teams are going to be foaming at the mouth to get running backs, and they're going to be at a premium because we're all sitting back saying, damn, they got Sonic and Knuckles.
Knuckle, yeah.
And they got Saquon Barkley, CMC's coming back. They got Derrick Henry going crazy and Josh Jacobs and like Aaron. I need me one too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a copycat league, and a lot of people are going to try to go find their own Saquon. So you better go get your running back. And the Cowboys, if they pass on running back this year in this year's class ball, I'm done. I know but I'm done.
I can believe it.
But it has to at least be at least 3 rounds. First 3, it has to be a run.
Because there's going to be a run. There's going to be a run, and it's going to happen early.
It's going to happen early. I think the way it happened the 4th round last year, it might happen the 3rd this year.
And maybe even the 2nd.
Right. Because there's no quarterbacks. Wide receiver kind of gets a little shallow. You know what I'm saying?
Wide receiver's only like 2 rounds deep. You know, so
yeah, wide receiver gets shallow. I mean, tight end. So there's not those other positions. Defensive tackles.
It's going to be a run. It's going to be a run.
Yeah, it's going to be a run. It's going to be a run. Probably day 2. It's just like, got me one. I didn't even know the Jets need a running back. Yep, we got to send one just in case. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's going to start stockpiling running backs because they're going to start being back in style, man. So we'll see what the Cowboys do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an offensive line guy. Our best friends is the running back. I think the best football in NFL was back in the 2010s when all those great names where you're leading those signature. I miss the term signature back. When you had to prepare and you had to literally the defensive coordinators couldn't sleep at night because they had to prepare for a running back that can go off anytime. I feel like I just thought of this right now. I feel like first of all, I believe running back is directly tied to your identity of your team. Mm-hmm. I feel like when we had Ezekiel Elliott, that was the only time we had a true identity. Teams knew we were physical because we had Ezekiel Elliott going to go challenge the great Cam Chancellor and meet him in the hole and saying, I don't care how many people you didn't gave concussions to or careers you can end it. I'm going to run through your face. I'm going to break your face, man. Right. And it's in our DNA. I don't know why we changed from that. I firmly believe I'm pushing this theory. I need to finish the damn short and real of, I feel like organizations within any sport, once it's in your history on how to win, that is the only recipe for you. So like with the Lakers, it's always with a guard or wing and a big. It was built in Magic, and then it was Kobe and Shaq, and then it was AD and LeBron. Like it's gonna keep showing up. The Celtics, the great teams, like the Bird, and he had a great team. Jason Tatum, a great team. The Cowboys, we're supposed to be boring. We're supposed to be boring. We're supposed to have a fullback. We're supposed to be all gritty, coming, and face paint on your eyes, known offensive linemen just all throughout the board. One receiver, 188 there. Right. Not a great quarterback. It's okay, not one of the best, but a great manager, a great leader, and somebody to not, just to be there to manage, and a stud of a running back behind us. Mm-hmm. The Dallas Cowboys is known as when they think of running backs in front. I asked this question to my guys. Like, when you think of historic running backs, we have probably had the most historic running backs in NFL history. Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith, DeMarco Murray, Marion Barber, like Ezekiel. We have had so many. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, in 2024, we've gone away from that.
Committee. The
committee. You're like, let's just switch it up because everyone else is doing it. No, stick to your guns. Stick to what got you to your pinnacle. Because I'm telling you, that is your formula. No matter, history repeats itself.
Facts.
So, but I appreciate you, man, for coming out, man. We got some great film. Hey, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm gonna put JTuck. Make sure to tune in to JTuck's breakdowns. He's more of a teacher. So you go to him, you learn the terms, you come back to me. We gonna prepare you for the exam. You feel me? Yeah. So we're gonna be doing more. We're going along on this series right now, dropping top position groups. I'm scouting like 20 guys each position. I'm dropping linebacker. I think by the time you see this, linebackers will be out. Then we're gonna go to tight ends. Quarterbacks is last. Quarterbacks is last. Right. Then receivers.
Stuff we don't need, and I'll toss it back, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But I appreciate y'all for making it this far, man. Until next time. Peace.